Well, hello, my friend, and welcome to episode 80 of the Dream Highway podcast. My name is Steve Pederson, of course, and I'm so glad you could join me for this solo trip. It's actually not a solo trip. I'm not alone. I'm with you. I got you with me for the ride, so thank you for joining me for this ride, for this epic journey. We're going to have a great time today. Today, I'm going to be talking about recognizing the warning signs of despair. Now, that might seem like kind of a heavy topic, but I assure you it's going to be great. This is very helpful stuff. It's been very helpful for me personally. So I can't wait to share that with you. Before we jump into the topic, though, I just wanted to share with you a few of the things that are going on for me personally on my own dream highway because I believe that it's important. I think it's important to sort of lead by example, as they say. I definitely, that's not the only reason I do it. I mean, I don't just, well, I got to do something to lead the way. That's not at all why I do this. I do it because it's a joy. I do it because I love to do it. I'm on my own personal dream highway journey because that's what lights me up. And I just want to share that with other people as I'm going along. I don't want to just be teaching and introducing you to guests and giving you a bunch of theory. I want to actually share with you my own personal dream highway, just so you know I walk the walk, and it's an example of what it looks like in my life, how it manifests in my life. So, without any further ado, um, let's talk a little bit about it. So, the things that I'm excited about, not sure if this is your first time listening, then hi, thanks for listening. Um, some of the things that I'm, very passionate about, that I'm very excited about, of course, are family. I'm super fired up about my wife and two daughters. I've got two teenage daughters, Krista and Carly. They are 16 and 18 years old now. Carly we just celebrated her 16th birthday, so that's a part of my dream highway, man. I love my family. I am so grateful for my family, and just spending time with them is out of this world. Absolutely love it, and wouldn't trade it for anything. Carly just turned 16. Uh, Krista is 18, and she's a senior in high school, getting ready to finish that up. And she is going to be, well, she's looking at colleges now. And I've got the honor of going with her to NIU. She's thinking about going to Northern Illinois University to study something out there we don't know. She isn't even sure what that is, and that's a great thing about the Dream Highway is, man, you don't have to have everything. You don't have to have your entire life planned out for you, before you actually get going and take some action. Just take the next logical step. So her next logical step is to be looking into colleges, and we're very excited to support her in that and to go after that with her. So that's what's going on with my family. Everybody's healthy, thank God. We are, that's one of the things. Just one of those things to be grateful for when you think about your own life and your own dream highway. How's your health? Are you taking care of yourself? That to me is, man, one of the most important things every morning when I go through my gratitude routine. That's one of the things that's always there, man. I am so thankful for my health, especially when I hear of some of the things that people are having to struggle with. Hey, you know, just live in the present moment is what I say for me. Like anything could happen at any time, but right now I'm grateful for that. But I did want to share with you, of course, one of the other things that I am super passionate about is playing guitar and playing guitar music, playing classical guitar music. And this is a very intense passion of mine. I love to do. And I'm not sure if you've been following me. If you've been following me, then you may know that about a year ago, actually almost exactly a year ago, I ordered a brand new guitar. And this was kind of a big step for me because usually when I buy guitars, it's usually in the $100 to $500 range of guitar. Every now and Not every now and then, like one time, let's see if you, my Gibson Les Paul. That was a bit more of an investment, but normally I don't invest that much in guitars. But last year I decided, you know what, I want to get a real concert level guitar, something that is handmade, that really has a lot of character to it. So I ordered one last year, and it had to be handmade, and so it was going to take a while. And so I've been waiting eagerly for that guitar. I actually purchased another guitar to play while I was waiting for that guitar. So I've been working with that. And the exciting news is that that guitar that I ordered, which was a made by Cordoba, the Cordoba guitar manufacturer, handmade by a couple of guys out there in California. It's a Hauser model. If you're into guitars, I can put some things in the show notes. So fascinating stuff in the show notes about that. But it's if you know who Andres Segovia is, Andres Segovia was the founder, sort of the godfather, if you will, of modern day classical guitar. Absolute legendary icon. Unfortunately, passed away several years ago, but he used to play this model of guitar, a Hauser, made by Herman Hauser. So I'll put a little link to his guitar in the show notes if you're interested in that kind of thing. But the exciting thing for me and my Dream Highway journey is that that guitar arrived just this past week. And so I've been just every second I can been playing this guitar, and I absolutely love it. It's a dream come true for me to have this and to be able to play it and spend time with it. So I named it Carmina. I've been naming my guitars now as just per suggestion of my daughter. She's like, do you have names for your guitars? And so she's helped me name some of them. So Carmina is its name, and I named it somewhat after my mother. My mother's name was Carmen. She just passed away a few months ago, and so it's kind of a little bit in her honor there. But I'm very excited about that, and I've been just doing things that I'm passionate about with guitar. I've been doing some what I call a Friday lunchtime recital. So around noon Central Time, I just go live on Facebook and play my guitar, play a couple of songs on my classical guitar, have a great time with that. And then I also am participating in a guitar community where there's all kinds of activities and ways to just continue to push yourself forward and hold yourself accountable. And one of the things that I signed up for, which was a real leap of faith for me, was a community guitar concert. So it's a private event. Otherwise, I'd invite you to come check it out. But it's just for the community members. But it's a way for me to kind of push sort of past my comfort zone. And I share all of this because within it, I hope that you can see just maybe lessons for yourself. Like, is there something in your life that, man, if I just kind of took a next step? I know, like, sometimes we have these huge dreams that we want to go after, but sometimes those dreams, not just sometimes, all the time, right? These dreams, we just need to take one step at a time to accomplish them. And so it's baby steps along the way. And so that's why I'm sharing about this, is just to inspire you to think about, okay, what are some baby steps that I could take? So for me, I play all kinds of different types of guitars. I play electric guitar, I play, steel string acoustic guitar, kind of like a folk guitar, rhythm guitar, lead guitar. all of that kind of stuff. And so, for example, when I get up in front of a group of people and I lead songs, say for example, like a worship song, I'll have my acoustic steel string guitar and I'll just strum some chords and I'll sing. And doing that kind of thing um, is not, it's not a real stretch for me. Like I don't get nervous at all. I'm totally comfortable doing that sort of thing. Uh, but when it comes to classical guitar, I get like really not nervous, but I guess the thing is when I play, we'll call it, quote unquote regular guitar. That's an interesting way to put it. But when I say regular guitar, I just mean strumming some chords and singing some songs. I really don't care if I screw up. It's not a big deal because it's not really so much about the specific notes and did I make a mistake. It's just, hey, let's be together and have a great time kind of a thing. But when I'm playing classical guitar is more of a fine art to me. Um, and if there's like a subtle mistake, I just this is something I'm working through as well, and so this is part of my dream highway journey, and that is, man, these little mistakes just totally derail me, and so I go into a performance. Um, Thinking, man, I don't want to screw up. I don't want to screw up. So it's something that I'm working through, but it's a huge part of my journey, my dream journey. And so having opportunities like this to participate in a group forum where it's a safe space to share what it is I'm working on, the progress that I'm making, um, which is kind of like what I'm doing here on the Dream Highway podcast. I'm just opening my life up and saying, here I am. This is where I'm at. Here's how I'm doing. Here's the progress that I'm making because this is where we're all at. I mean, people put things on social media and say, here's where I'm at. And of course, they polish it and they show you nothing but the best. And so it can be very intimidating seeing what other people have going on, and you don't really see what's going on behind the scenes. So I'm kind of opening up my life and letting you in to see sort of behind the scenes of what's going on. So that's what I'm excited about right now. I'm um, excited about all of these dreams that I'm pursuing and sharing with you along the way just sort of the mental game behind it and some of the tools and tricks and stuff that I've been learning, that in some cases, I feel like I've mastered. In some cases, I feel like, oh, I'm still working on that skill. But I will tell you what, man, there's so much going on behind the scenes, for anybody who is excelling in any area of their life. Man, it takes a lot of mental game to be able to be successful in any area, whether that be uh, raising a family, uh, going after a passion like a music passion, starting a business, whatever it might be. So, um, bringing you practical lessons from the front line, which is why I want to share with you today about this term despair and recognizing the warning signs of despair. Now, um, this term despair is actually an acronym that sort of spells out some symptoms or warning signs, if you will. Now, what this is a part of, this acronym and this idea of the warning signs of despair, is actually a part of a bigger work that I'm putting together right now, which is called the Dream Formula. And if you've been listening for a while, you know several episodes back, I actually did a couple of episodes based on the Dream Formula. And this is all going into a very soon to be released ebook or guide. I'm not sure if it'll be the actual length of like of a book, but maybe a short book that I'm going to be making available for free. And so I'm excited to get this out. I've appeared as a guest on another podcast. That podcast is called the Practed Goal. I'll put all of this in the show notes. But that podcast is coming out, I believe, on April 14th of this year. And in that, I promised to give this away. So I have to have this thing done. And sometimes we need those kind of deadlines, right, to kind of push us towards our goal to make progress. And what's interesting even about that is that my vision for this download, this free guide that I'm going to be giving away, is that it's going to be like this nice, full color, all kinds of images, and not a handout, but PDF that's very as visually appealing as it is informative. And I started working on that, and I realized, uh-oh, you know what? Even if I just have the content ready by the 14th, I just need to get something. I need to get the content. That's the most important part. I need to get that together first. And so again, there's a lesson in there about our dream highways, right? It's like, hey, we might have this grand vision for something. Just get the first iteration of it done. Get it together, get it out there, and then make progress from there. So the first iteration of this, what I'm calling the dream formula, it may just be text, black and white text. That's what I'm working on right now, and then eventually adding in the pictures and making it colorful and beautiful and all of that stuff as well. So progress. As long as we're making progress, that's the name of the game. Okay, we may not have arrived at the destination, but as long as we're in gear and driving towards it, that's the main thing. And of course, what we always say here, enjoying the process, or enjoying the journey, enjoying the journey, enjoying the journey every step of the way. And I'm loving it. I'm totally enjoying this process. It's not easy. I'll tell you that. It's not easy, but it is a process that I'm really enjoying creating this content. So without any further ado, let's get down to the warning signs of despair. Now, sort of how I preface this is by saying when I was about 11 years old, I went with my family to I think it's called the U.S. engraving and printing thing in Washington, D.C. Yeah, man, what a great trip that was. So many museums that I saw, but one of the great places that I went to was this place where they print the money for the United States. And it was just so fascinating. At the end of the production process were these people that were essentially flipping through these huge pages. It was before the money had been cut. Just huge pages, and each page was all of these bills, and they were just looking through and examining the bills. And what they told us was that these people, what they're trained to do is to know exactly what a bill looks like. What they don't study all the imperfections. They don't study all the possible scenarios where things could go wrong. They don't do that. What they study is what an authentic bill actually looks like. And so what happens is when you know very well what an authentic bill looks like, you can spot a fake just like that. So the more attuned you are to what it is you want, the more quickly you'll recognize things that you don't want. And so that's sort of the preface of this whole idea of despair. These are warning signs that should pop up instantly. Like when you when you these warning signs that I'm about to talk about, these are feelings. These show up as feelings or emotions in your life. And if you have any one of these feelings or emotions or anything like them, that should be a warning sign. Like, whoa, I've gotten off the dream highway. I might be going the, quote unquote wrong way on this dream highway. I've gotten off path. And so it's really, you can see them as a gift, so to speak, or as a, maybe not a blessing, but as, just be grateful, I guess, that you can see them. So let's get into them. The warning signs of despair. Now, despair, as I mentioned, is an acronym. So each one of the letters of the word despair stand for a type of feeling that you can have. And these could be categories of feelings as well. So first of all, let's start with D. Despair starts with D. Let's go with D. So the first one is, D is for down. You're just feeling down. Does, can you feel that? Down. I shouldn't be laughing about it. It's not fun to feel down. You're feeling down in the dumps. There's actually a number of D's that could fit very well into this, but down is kind of the main idea. You're feeling down in the dumps. You're feeling discouraged. You're feeling depressed. You're feeling despondent or disinterested. It's just that sense of, um, man, down, discouraged, and depressed. Let's just say that. So if you're feeling any one of those things, that's a red flag. That's a warning sign. Now, I'm what I want to be careful of here is that, you might think, well, are you saying that if I ever have kind of a down moment, that's a warning sign? That's not what I'm saying. With all of these warning signs, let me just preface this by saying it's perfectly natural to feel any one of these things anytime. And if you don't feel them, that's actually probably a warning sign as well. So the idea is just, how often do you feel these types of things? Like, do you feel them most of the time? Because there was definitely a time in my life where I felt down, discouraged, and depressed most of the time. It was like a fleeting moment where I actually felt good. And so that's what I'm saying. If these kinds of things are showing up in your life more often than not, that is a huge warning sign. And but if you're on the dream highway, like I said before, if you're attuned to what you really want, the sooner you can recognize these things and deal with them proactively, obviously, the better. So that's our first uh, acronymial word is down. So the next one, let's go on to the next one, E. E is for exhausted. Boy, do you ever feel exhausted? Now, by exhausted, I'm talking about, in general, feeling like you've got little to no energy. How you go about things, maybe with kind of a mopey attitude. You're just kind of going through the motions, but you're really tired. Okay? You got no motivation. There's no excitement, or very little excitement in your life. There's nothing that you're really enthused about. So there's an E that's sort of the opposite, a synonym, or is that acronym? Acronym of exhausted. So you're not feeling enthused. You're not feeling excited. You're feeling exhausted or bored. So this is a sign that you've run out of gas. And you're not going to get very far if you're exhausted. You won't be of much help to others. So if that's the case, if this is how you're feeling, it's a warning sign that it's time to fuel up. All right, let's go on to the next one, DES. S stands for stuck. If you're feeling stuck. Are you feeling stuck in any area of your life? Are you feeling stuck in the mud? Are you a stick in the mud that's stuck in the mud? If you feel like you've hit a roadblock, or you're up against a wall, or you're not going anywhere in your life, or you're not making quite the progress that you feel like you should be making, uh, that's what it's like to feel stuck. And you might feel completely stuck. You might feel like, oh my gosh, like my entire life is going nowhere. That's probably not really the case if you think about it, but it can feel that way. It could feel like your entire life is stuck, or it might feel like you might be just feeling stuck in one area of your life. You might be feeling stuck on a problem in your business or a problem in your relationship. And when that happens, boy, I'll tell you what, you get one little thing in your body, like a toothache, or you cut yourself or something like that. It could be a very tiny thing that affects only one tiny part of your body, but suddenly that's all you can think about. Okay. So if you're feeling stuck, being stuck is a painful thing. And if you're feeling stuck, even if it's in one tiny little area of your life, it can feel like your whole life has shut down. So if you're feeling stuck, that is a warning sign, my friend, that you need to get some help. Okay, so that's DES. The next letter in the word despair is P. And P, in this case, stands for powerless. Powerless. Now, powerlessness often results in acting out in passive or aggressive ways because of your anger, because you're not getting your way. When you're stuck, now there's a difference between stuck and powerlessness. I think about, I'm from Chicago where it snows quite a bit. Sometimes you can get stuck. Your car gets stuck in like the snow or whatever. Now here's the thing. That's no fun. It stinks to get stuck. Stinks to get stuck. Stinks to get stuck. But what you can do is, if you have a shovel and you have some sand, which all smart Chicagoans or Midwesterners who have been around snow should carry in their car at all times, you can do something about it. Okay? But powerlessness is that feeling of, it seems like, and that's a huge key part of it, it seems like there's nothing that I can do about it. So powerlessness would be being in that car, being stuck in the snowbank and not having the shovel, not having the sand, not having anybody to give you a push, and the car won't start. So you're just not going anywhere, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, so if that's how you're feeling that sense of powerlessness, you just can't get a break, then that, of course, is a warning sign. Warning, warning, warning. Okay? All right, let's go on to the next letter. Next letter is A. Despair. A. Despair. A stands for anxiety. Ooh, anxiousness or anxiety, that feeling, horrible feeling. And there's a couple of siblings that like to travel along with anxiety, and those are the siblings of stress and overwhelm. Can I get an amen? Can I get a witness? You ever feel that? Man. So stress, overwhelm, anxiety, you're feeling those, and I will tell you what, those are very, very prevalent in today's society, especially, just, gosh, what's going on right now? We've got war in Ukraine. We've got gas prices through the roof. Coming out of a pandemic, but still, it's still lingering. Man, in any given day, there's a reason Jesus said, don't worry about your life, or don't worry about tomorrow. Each day has enough trouble of its own, man. That is so true. Every day there is something that you could potentially get anxious, stressed, and overwhelmed about. If you're feeling those things, once again, that is a warning sign on the dream highway. All right, so we've got 2 more to go. So after A is I, the letter I. And I stands for inferior. If you're feeling inferior, Now, that's just a word that starts with I, but there's a bunch of words that are very similar. And the whole idea with this feeling of inferiority is just feeling like you're not enough. You're not good enough. Um, and this usually happens once you've given up hope. What we can tend to do is justify why we're at where we're at by concluding that we just don't deserve it. We just don't deserve to have our dreams come true. We're not worth it. Or our time has passed, or we're too old, or we're not that gifted anyway. What was I thinking getting involved in this? Um, I'm not that smart. I'm not that talented. I'm not that gifted. I don't have what it takes. I'm an imposter. These are all things that go along with feeling inferior. We can think thoughts like, man, I'm never going to amount to anything. I never stood a chance with this dream. I never stood a chance with that person. What was I thinking trying to ask that person out on a date? I never had a chance with them. So this state of inferiority and feeling inadequate and like you're just not enough, man, that will totally decimate any sense of courage or confidence or clarity that you may have even hoped to have. Um, so that sense of in being inferior, that is a warning sign. Again, all of these feelings, this is not like a death sentence. Like these types of things should, if you're on the dream highway, there's solutions to all of this stuff. And if you're feeling this way, the encouraging thing is, oh, I'm aware of it. I'm aware that I'm feeling this thing, and I know what to do about it because I've got the dream formula. So let's hit on our last letter here. Last letter of the word despair is the letter R, and it stands for regret. Regret. There's probably a bunch of R words that you could think of that are unpleasant feelings, that are warning signs, but I think this term regret is very apropos for this situation, because when you're regret is that this feeling of you've kind of lost connection with the now. And I think a lot of times people frame regret in the future. Like um, maybe you've heard motivational speakers say things like, "Oh, you don't want to get to the end of your life and have all of these regrets." Or I've heard people talk about interviewing older people or people that are on their deathbed, so to speak, and they have all of these regrets. And so motivational speakers will say, you don't want to die with all of these regrets. You don't want to die with your dreams still inside of you, man. And I don't necessarily think that's a really helpful or healthy way, really, to even look at at framing the end of your life. I think what regret is telling us is that we're obsessing over something that we can't do anything about. Now, it could be a regret of like, man, I just did something really stupid yesterday. I regret that I did that. Um, there, there's a fine line between thinking, okay, getting feedback like, man, I did something, say for example, I said something insensitive to my spouse. There's a difference between feeling a sense of, that's that's not how I want to behave. That's not how I want to act. Man, I love my wife. I don't want to treat her like that. I'm going to do better going forward. I'm going to ask for forgiveness, these kinds of things. That's not regret. Regret is just a feeling of sort of hopelessness and despair, feeling down because you haven't accomplished something that you've wanted to accomplish, or you missed an opportunity, or you did do something dumb, dumb, quote unquote, that you didn't, you think I shouldn't have done that kind of a thing. So, yeah, the sense of regret is, man, it's just a warning sign. It's a warning sign to say, okay, regret is not a healthy or helpful thing. Feeling a sense of sobriety over maybe a mistake that you've made, coupled with some giving yourself some self-love and accept, not being judgmental towards yourself. Okay, so this is kind of a fine line warning sign, but I think when you're feeling regret. It's just the main thing about regret is that you've lost touch with the moment, with the present moment, and you're obsessing over something in the past that you can't do anything about. So anyhow, so those are what are there, 7 of them? I guess I didn't realize that, but there are, yeah, 7 signs, warning signs, top 7 warning signs of despair. So again, this was not meant to be like a, whoa, this is really heavy kind of a thing. This is meant to be wow, when I see these, I'm so thankful for warning signs. I'll tell you what, I would not want to be driving along on my dream highway and then get off, maybe get off an exit ramp where I'm going the wrong way on a one-way or something like that, and not have any warning signs. I would want to have warning signs. Warning signs are good things. So hopefully, like I said, these have been super helpful for me, because as there's times where I'm walking around and I'm thinking, and I realize, oh my gosh, I'm feeling down. And now, there used to be a time in my life where that was just the norm for me. I felt down all the time. And so now that's not the case for me. And I don't feel down all the time. So when I start feeling down, I can recognize it and go, huh, I know I'm feeling down for a reason. What is that reason? And I can kind of investigate, how did I start going the wrong way here? How can I turn this around? So hopefully these warning signs of despair will be helpful for you along your dream highway. What I'm going to do is, if you would like to get a copy of this dream formula that's going to contain these warning signs of despair, what I want to do is invite you to go over to the show notes page for this episode, which is at thedreamhighway.com/ and then the number 80. That's 80. And I'll have a place for you to sign up. If this is not sure when you're going to listen to this, maybe by the time you're listening to this, I'll have it ready and you sign up and you'll just get it right away. If it's before whenever I get the first iteration of this thing together, then you'll just be put on a list where you'll get notified immediately when the first draft comes out, and then I'll send you any subsequent updated drafts as well. So it's kind of like updating software. You'll get the free software and you get all the updates as well. So hopefully this has been helpful to you and you've enjoyed this time together. I have certainly enjoyed. I hope you've picked up on the energy. I'm going to be honest with you. I was thinking, oh my gosh, tomorrow I need to put together, it's kind of like I need to do this, right? And I wasn't feeling physically very well. I was like really kind of feeling down and exhausted myself. And I was like, man, I don't want to do a podcast in this energy. So I actually did something that is going to be in the dream formula handout, because I've got these warning signs of despair, then I've got the dream formula, what that means. I've got my top 10 toolbox for self-care. That's going to be in there as well. It's going to be a smorgasbord of delight. It's going to be hopefully super helpful for you. But I put one of those things into practice, got into a much better place, and now I've had an absolute blast doing this. I came this close to not doing this episode because I was like, man, I just don't know if I'm there. And again, that's just a great example, I think, of, man, sometimes you just got to do it. You just got to move, take action, and the energy will catch up to you later on. So thanks again for joining. Once again, head over to thedreamhighway.com/80 to get signed up for your free copy of the Dream Formula, and we'll catch you next time on the Dream Highway. So long for now.